Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In case you're new to my channel, my name is Amy and I'm an online reseller. What that means is basically that I go to places like thrift stores, garage sales, things like that. I find items that I can buy for cheap and that I can resell online on platforms like eBay, Poshmark, and Mercari. I'm going to do another what sold video for you guys today. So let's not waste any more time and let's go ahead and get started. Alright guys, so these sales are from October 22nd through the 28th. There's 14 sales I want to go over with you. So let's start with some Poshmark sales and get those out of the way. Then we'll move on to our eBay sales. No Mercari sales for this time period. As usual, we don't sell a whole lot on Mercari, but every once in a while we will have Mercari come in out of nowhere and give us sometimes a really good sale. So it's mainly eBay that we do most of our sales on. We do decent on Poshmark, but nowhere near as good as eBay. And then Mercari is kind of like here and there. And as I've stated to you guys before, typically we do sell more items than I go over in these videos, but a lot of them are pretty low dollar items and I don't see a need to go over them in these videos just because I feel like it's not things that you want to be on the lookout for necessarily, as they're lower dollar items. So, first up on Poshmark, we sold these UGG women's boots. These we paid $2.96 for at the bins, and they ended up selling for $31. Obviously, if you're not new to my channel, you've heard me talk about the bins a million times. If you are new, let me go over that real quick. It's also referred to as the Goodwill outlet, and it's basically where you pay for everything by the pound instead of having to pay for each item individually. It can be a great, cheaper way to source items to resell. Next up are these Echo men's shoes. These we paid about $3.39 for at the bins, and they ended up selling on Poshmark for $36. And the last sale that I want to go over from Poshmark, this was a pair of Polo Ralph Lauren men's jeans. These we paid about $4.26 for at our local thrift store, and they ended up selling on Poshmark for $20. All right, let's go ahead and jump in now to our eBay sales. First up, we have this Grayson women's polo shirt. This shirt was brand new with tags. We paid $3.50 for this at Goodwill, and it ended up selling for $45. Now, this was a new to me brand. I had heard of Grayson from other resellers, but more recently, and this was the first and only time that I have found this brand. Even more exciting was the fact that it was brand new with tags. And so, yeah, that was an awesome thing to find and definitely an awesome flip to only have to pay about $3.50 for it and be able to sell it for $45. So be on the lookout for that brand in case that's one you guys haven't heard of. Like I said, I just recently found out about it myself. So keep an eye out for Grayson. Next up are these Harley Davidson women's boots. We only paid $1 for these at a thrift store. This isn't a normal thrift store that we usually go to. I'm pretty sure it's kind of like more like a consignment shop, but something happened where they were having this huge sale to offload a whole bunch of inventory, and basically everything in the store was $1. So we went and checked it out and did find a few things. This was one of the items that we found, and these boots ended up selling for $30. Next up are these UGG sheepskin boots. Bought these for about $3.07 at the bins, and these sold for $30. Next up were these cool hiking pants for men. Bought these at Goodwill. I believe I didn't have a price marked on these, and I'm not sure why. I feel like these were probably about $5 or so. It was a Goodwill actually that we've done a couple different thrifting trips. And so we were like sourcing while we were out of town. We purposely went on these trips to go thrifting in different areas. And this was one that we found at a Goodwill on one of those trips. I believe we were in Michigan at the time when we found this one. So I just can't remember for sure how much we paid for it, but I think it was probably around $5. And these ended up selling for $34.99. Kohl is a great brand. I have only found it a handful of times, unfortunately. It's not very common to find in my area, and a couple of times that I have found it has happened to be outside of my area. So yeah, it's a great brand to be on the lookout for, and if you can find it in your area, definitely pick it up. You're normally going to do pretty well, and it's going to sell fairly quickly for you. All right, next up are these Timberland women's boots. Paid about $4.26 for these at our local thrift store, and these ended up selling for $30. Next up are these Berries by Atrex women's shoes. Paid about $1.59 for these at the bins, and they ended up selling on eBay for $21.22. So this wasn't a brand I was really familiar with either, but I was at the bins, and sometimes when I'm at the bins, if I find shoes that I'm not that familiar with or that sound like maybe I've heard something about them before, I'll look them up and see. I looked these up and saw that they did okay, and since they were so lightweight and I only ended up paying $1.59 for them, I figured it was worth it. And it was. I mean, I was able to flip them for $21.22. So nothing crazy. These aren't a super expensive pair of shoes or anything like that. I don't know that I would always pick up this brand, but it was okay for me as far as finding it at the bins, finding it cheap, and being able to flip it. So I'm okay with that, but it's not a brand that I would probably typically just always be on the lookout for. Next up are these Merrell women's sandals. Paid about $1.05 for these at the bins, and they sold for $24.97. Next is this action figure. This is Supernatural's Bernhardt figure. This I did not have any money into. If you have seen any of my previous What Sold videos, you would have heard me talk about the fact that I've been selling off some old toys of mine from when I was younger. Well, mine and my brother's from when we were younger. Been just selling off a lot of that stuff lately because nostalgia really sells, and I don't have anywhere to keep these things. I don't have any emotional attachment to them. I don't have anything to do with them, but a lot of people have that nostalgic thought process where they want to collect all these things from their childhood, and so they'll go on eBay to find them. So I personally did not have any money into this figure, and it ended up selling on eBay for $24.97. So not bad to get $25 basically out of just an old toy of mine. That's pretty cool. Again, if you guys have these kind of toys from like the 80s, 90s, maybe even some from early 2000s, I think are starting to gain some momentum as well, depending on what they are. If you guys have any toys or anything like that from those kind of time frames, you may want to look into selling them unless it's something you personally want to keep. And you can also sometimes find these things at thrift stores and garage sales. I don't find them that often at thrift stores and garage sales, but I have found a few things before in this type of category. So always be on the lookout for this kind of stuff, or like I said, if you have it yourself from your own childhood, or maybe your parents have it in their home, go start digging through. You might be surprised at what you find. I have sold some actually very valuable toys in the past from my own, childhood collection. So just something to keep in mind and something to keep your eye out for. Next up is this Polaroid Pronto Land Camera SX70. Now again, this kind of goes in the same vein, except this was something that was my mom's from a long, long time ago, and she just gave it to me to sell. She told me, here, just take this, try to sell it. Well, I didn't have any way to test it. I mean, it's a Polaroid. I don't even know what you would do with Polaroids at this point. However, some people, for whatever reason, are still very interested in buying them. I don't know if it's just to collect. I don't know if it's to actually use. I don't know what the reasoning is, but some Polaroids will still sell. And so I figured, hey, why not? Again, no money into it. She just gave it to me to try and see what I could do with. So I went ahead and listed it, and it took a while, but it finally ended up selling for $22.48. Next are these Coach heels. These we paid about $1.91 for at the bins, and they ended up selling on eBay for $20.02. And finally, we have these Dansko sandals. These were another one that we found on a thrifting trip. I believe this one was either somewhere in like northeastern Ohio, or it may have been in Pennsylvania. We went on a trip to Pennsylvania, but I don't remember exactly which store these ones came from, because there were stores like in the northeastern part of Ohio that we stopped in, and there were stores in Pennsylvania that we stopped in. So this came from a Goodwill somewhere around that area. Paid $6.99 for them, and they sold for $40 on eBay. So again, you know, excellent profit there. So those are all the sales I wanted to go over with you guys today. This again was from October 22nd through the 28th, 14 different sales to go over. Hopefully you guys liked that. Hopefully maybe it gave you some ideas of items to be on the lookout for. If you liked this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, a big like for me. It'll help this video. It'll help my channel. It'll help more people be able to see this video. If you have any comments or questions, make sure to comment down below. I'll answer any comments or questions anyone might have. Please make sure to subscribe. If you subscribe, you'll always be notified when I post new videos. Speaking of which, and speaking of the thrifting trips, we just went on another thrifting trip this past weekend, and I got some footage for you guys. So I just have to put it together, edit it, make a video, and I'm hoping to have that video out for you guys sometime either later this week or maybe next week. I guess it just depends. You know, life gets busy. Reselling takes up a lot of time. Making videos and editing videos takes a lot of time. Other things in life take up a lot of time. But I do want to try to get some more videos out for you guys. So I'm going to try and have this one up for you as soon as possible. It'll be a thrift with me style video from my thrifting trip, which is exciting. It's fun to go on thrifting trips. So you're going somewhere outside of your own home area and finding stuff that maybe you don't normally find in your home area, which definitely happened on this trip. Spoiler alert. So you guys should stick around for that. Like I said, make sure you subscribe. If you subscribe, you're going to know when I post those new videos, such as that one. There's some other videos that I have in mind that I would love to do here coming up very soon. I kind of want to, I like the what sold videos. I feel like it gives you guys the best kind of information to let you know what is selling for us right now. And I feel like that kind of helps you know what to look for. But I feel like there's other videos that are also important to make, and fun to make and fun to view. I know when I watch other people on YouTube, there's definitely other kinds of videos I like to watch. I like to watch the thrift with me videos. I like to watch the garage sale videos. I like to watch videos with just random knowledge. And I do also like the what sold videos, because I do feel like it gives you more direct knowledge of what is selling right now. But the other videos are definitely fun. So I want to get those for you too. So again, watch out for that thrift with me video from my recent thrifting trip. I think it'll be fun. I think you guys will like it, and I'll try to have it out for you as soon as possible. That's all for today, guys. Until next time, keep on hunting for that hidden treasure.